ahead and get started. This is Inga Hansen. I am the editor of Medesthetics magazine, and today we're going to be talking about how to successfully integrate skincare products and services into your med spa and medical practice. We'd like to thank Canfield Imaging Systems for their generous support, which allowed us to bring this webinar to you, and want to let you know that at the end of the webinar, we will be having a Q&A session. So if any questions come up during the course of the presentation, you can type them into the question box on the right-hand side of your screen, or you can wait till the end to submit your questions through the box, and we will make sure we get them all answered. If there's anything we didn't hit on by the end of the session, we can follow up with people and send some answers and information. And topical skincare products and aesthetic treatments help patients maintain the health of their skin and prolong the results of their in-office medical cosmetic treatments. But understanding how to coordinate care between providers, how to select the best products for your patient base, and how to create a profitable retail center can be a challenge for practices. And this is why we are thrilled to introduce Cheryl Whitman. Cheryl has been a regular contributor to Medesthetics magazine. She's also a recognized leader in aesthetic practice business development and marketing, and has been working with this industry for more than 30 years. She's the creator of the Medical Aesthetic Success System and the author of Beautifully Profitable, Forever Profitable, which is a marketing manual for practice managers and med spa owners. Cheryl regularly lectures at plastic surgery, dermatology, and med spa conferences across the country, where she helps physicians, med spa owners, and practice managers learn to grow and thrive in today's competitive environment. Welcome, Cheryl.
Thank you, Inga. And as a consultant for over 30 years, and you just did a very nice introduction, I appreciate that. Today I'm going to share real life practice and med spa tips and hints and questions that were asked daily as a national consulting firm. We get all kinds of calls, and sometimes you think you've heard it all, and then you really haven't. But, the question of how to increase your revenue, how to choose the product line, how to choose the equipment that's best for your practice or your med spa, it is an individual basis. But overall, everybody wants to add new profit centers. That's the bottom line. What is the ROI? What is my return on investment? What is my bottom line? First of all, first thing I say is know your brand and know your business, because your brand is your business. The products, the services, and the staff all reflect back on you. You need to remember that when you're choosing a product line, when you're creating a private label product line, or you're hiring staff. And that to me is very important and very key. When we created our second book, Beautifully Profitable, one of the reasons I created the book is for our clients to stay ahead of the curve. It's a very practical guide. It's a guide to help you stand out from your competition. We will be discussing a lot of information that can be found in the book, and there is going to be a Medesthetics VIP discount code that can be used at the end of the webinar for the e-version of the book. And we're often asking you, are you missing a valuable opportunity in your office? Do you feel like you're losing money because you're not selling enough product? What's enough product? How much should my estheticians or my nurses be selling when they're doing procedures? Well, you definitely want to bundle products and procedures and combine them. And you should see a visual change in the skin. Remember, you're the expert, and that's why they're coming to you for a consultation. So today, Canfield has given us a lot of good information, a lot of good insight on how we can help you to create a good, valuable opportunity in your office that already is probably pre-existing. So you don't have to go looking today for a new profit center. Let's just work with what you have. Okay, next slide. So you want to be part of it. You want to be part of the trend. Skincare retail revenue is at its highest right now, ever. So we're all sitting in a very good position. The skincare represents the whole market share of $96.5 million each year. And that's devoted mainly to the face, because that's what most people see is the face. I mean, we talk about the face and the hands and the neck. Some people don't care about the body, and of course we all know the body contouring, business is huge and growing right now. The global skincare industry is reaching highs of 264 billion by the year 2017. 2017 is not that far away. We used to think it sounded like it was so far away, but it's right next door. So who and why? And this is really important to look at and focus on because most practices on med spas don't pay much attention to this. So first we have to know who your demographics are. Know who your patients are. Do you really know who they are? And that's who we have to cater to. And we have to focus your products, we have to focus your services on your demographics. I know often there's a trade show, they have a great special, you go and buy and buy and buy, and then you come back and realize it's not for your demographics. So we need to know your demographics. You need to know them before you start purchasing, before you start marketing. Obviously, the age, the race, the location, the employment status. Overall, we see 80% women are a consumer in the aesthetic business. We need to learn more about the psychographics of the buyer, the buyer's personality, the psychographics of why they're impulse buying, what makes them want to buy something at that moment. Is it the sale and the price? Is it the value? Is it the way that they're feeling, their attitude? They want to reward themselves with something good. They are feeling low in self-esteem that day, so they feel if they buy something, then it's like eating something, like they're going to get a reward, and they're rewarding themselves. So it's emotional. These are all emotional factors that come into play in the consumer process of making a purchase. So we need to learn a little bit more about the buying behavior and the decision-making process of your consumers that are coming into you. And it does have to do with demographics. It does have to do with employment status. And that all makes sense. So there is a decision-making process. And some of this I'm quoting from Finnish woman's study that I had once read. But basically, women in the age between 20 and 35 think very similar, and women 40 to 60 think very similar. And very interesting, one line that I always remembered from that study was women who had children were more interested in natural products. And I don't know that means green, organic, but they were much more interested in natural products. And that's interesting, I guess, because they do have children. So you might want to keep that in mind, knowing who your demographics are. So treating more than just wrinkles is what we're all doing. I mean, everybody comes in because something is bothering them. We don't always know what it is. Could be one of the line items that we mentioned here. I know, recently on the doctors, a doctor did a combination of dark under eye circle, combination of treatments of lasers and fillers and products, and and everything looks great. It's every day there's new products and there's new equipment coming out, and I know we're all aware of it because we all get inundated with emails and at the trade shows there's so many more things. But you have to make your services affordable to everybody. That is something you will hear me say in most of my talks. Yes, money is going to stop somebody from buying a package or multiple procedures or products. Even a Park Avenue in New York City client getting out of a limousine might not be able to tell her husband she's spending, $5,000 on a procedure. So be sure that your staff is sensitive. They understand who they're dealing with. It could look at the shopping bag lady who they think has no money but has a bag full of money. We don't know who we're dealing with. But be sure there's some sensitivity and that your staff can ask for money and can sell the procedures and the programs. Because we're finding that we're getting them in the door. Once they're in the door, we can't close them, or they're not being closed. Why? Because the person doesn't know how to ask for money. So whether it's a patient coordinator in a plastic surgery practice or somebody doing sales in another practice, you need to understand the skin. You need to understand what they're in for, what's bothering them, and then have the proper solution. Okay, so we're going to get to the next slide. So there's priorities and trust. Trust is definitely key. You want to position yourself as the expert. Everyone trusts the expert. So how do you maintain yourself as the expert? Well, you have to stay on top of your game. You have to know what's out there. There's every day there's new ingredients. I just read about some this morning. I mean, it's interesting, but you want to become knowledgeable about what's out there. You also want to know what your competition has. Not that you want to duplicate it, but you just should know what is going on. Don't have blinders on. And have meetings with your staff and discuss what people might be asking when they're calling in and they're asking for treatments or they're asking for product. Know what they're asking for. And that is a priority, that you have to build trust and build a relationship and build a bond. This is an interesting number. And did you know that 1/4 of dispensing physicians generate over 15% of their revenue? Sorry, we're having a slide issue right now, but we're getting back to it. The next one. Okay. Okay. So 1/4 of dispensing physicians generate over 15% of their revenue from sales from skincare products. And when we go into the practices and we assess what's going on with sales, it's usually considered very low. So most of the practices and most of the providers or the estheticians or the nurses, they're looking to increase and dispense more. So we all know that there's cosmeceuticals, which we'll talk about, there's pharmaceutical prescription strength, but it comes down to educating, not selling. You want to educate your consumer, not sell the consumer. And you want to look at your numbers on a pretty consistent basis of how many skincare consults or procedure consults that you've done in the last 3 months. The question I'm going to ask you is how many of them didn't close, did not close. So even if you lost one, which is a very conservative number, in a week, that's 15 patients that you just gave to your competition in a matter of 3 weeks, less than a month. Let's say that patient was valued at $3,000 per treatment for something non-invasive, maybe a combination of, treatments that your esthetician could be doing. We're talking about $45,000 in revenue that's lost. That's without adding up annual multiple visits, a life cycle of the patient. So you have to look at what each person is worth in your practice. Think about those numbers. They're big. Look at what you're spending on marketing to bring in a new patient. Do you even know what your cost per lead is? What is it costing you? And then I laugh because we do mystery shopping and mystery phone calls, and we create these report cards. And as soon as we pick up the phone, we're like, oh no, the front desk put me on hold, or they forgot to follow up and call me back. So now they're not trained on answering the questions on procedures and being able to answer questions. And the consumers today are very educated, as you know. So bottom line is your bottom line. You don't need a CFO. If you do, you can borrow mine. Harleen will be available, and she can help you calculate what are you actually losing annually. So that's a big number, and that's something really big to think about. And we'll go to the next slide. So cosmeceuticals are topical. It's interesting that the cosmeceuticals is not FDA recognized, the word cosmeceutical. So it's a combination of a product that is a drug-like benefit, but it's a topical cosmetic product. So these products can be found in a medspa, plastic surgery center, any type of physician that wants to sell skincare or body care products. The body care product, by the way, market is growing. I don't have those statistics today. The men's market is growing. The ethnic market is growing. And all of those are topics that I will be writing and talking about. So we're talking about cosmeceuticals. I don't have to go into every single one, you know them if you're watching this webinar, but I have to say that I do see the future of being stem cells. Not necessarily apples or pears or oranges stem cells, but I see the future of injectable stem cells and stem cells being a big part of the future in the cosmetic aesthetic industry. So we want products and ingredients to be effective. We want to make sure your staff is educated. What will that equal? The best return on investment. That's your investment. You're investing in product and you're investing in educating your staff. And that's ongoing education, not just one-time education and training. It's not going to work. You know, it's almost like training children. It's over and over and over again. People have to hear things and see things, and you have to role play. You need marketing support. Sometimes you can get exclusivity, not always. And things have to look attractive, whether they're attractive looking packaging like you'd find, you know, at a Sephora store, or attractive pharmaceutical looking, you know, product in a blue or brown bottle with a pretty label, or a secondary packaging of a box or an insert. Always have testers available. People want to touch, feel, and smell. That's very important, especially for women. Men are sensitive to smell, and so most men's products either have no smell at all, or they have like a natural woodsy type smell. When it comes to smell, it's interesting because if you walk into a mall, you smell the cinnamon rolls. That's to attract men, and women are more attracted to like a vanilla type smell. So effective active ingredients are what you have to pay attention to when you're looking for effective, good skincare. So how do you choose the right retail line? You know, it's really hard. There's so much out there. You know, what works, what doesn't work. You are the best one to test it. Take before and after pictures. Use your imaging machine. Canfield offers great programs with their imaging machines. Use those machines when you're testing product. We do that all the time. And you can really see and do your own analysis if the products have worked. You want to add them into your menu. Maybe you want to create signature treatments. You want to use them if they're effective in your back bar, and in your treatments pre and post treatment, maybe packages or plans. But the staff, again, needs to be educated. They need to understand the product, what's in the product, and the key ingredients, and why you, the provider or the doctor or the owner, chose these product lines. How many product lines should you have in your office? That's another question. We've gone in to do assessments where there's 10 product lines. Why? Because they had 8 estheticians that left in the last 2 years, and every esthetician came in wanting a different product line. So I guess I'm not a fan of that. You want everybody to like what they're selling, but I think sometimes you have to weigh and measure and not have hundreds of thousands of dollars in inventory just sitting there. Next. And so we can always talk about that later. But private label branded products is another really good option. It's a way to build your name and your brand. You can use medical grade prescription strength. You can use cosmeceutical strength, which is a blend. There are clinical studies showing how effective they are in the skin. A lot of the labs, I probably deal with 25, 30 labs. A lot of the labs actually, you know, make products for a lot of the big names that you see. And you don't know that, though. And they all have insurance of $1 million to $10 million. And it is a great way to build patient retention, because the patients have to come back to you for the product, opposed to going to Skin Store and drugstore.com and all the other ones out there where they could buy everything at a discounted price or a special price. So this can only be purchased through you. So if it's somebody who's a snowbird or somebody who's traveling a lot, you can ship the product. They can buy it on a shopping cart on your website. You know, we're in the middle of creating about 6 shopping carts now for websites. So you can make money while you sleep. With saying all of that and private label, you should also have a brand name product line, unless you are in practice, you know, for 5 or 10 years, and you have very good estheticians, and you could have your marketing message, mission, and vision around your products and why you develop them, and create your storyboard, which we can help you with. But the products are actually going home with the patients with your name on them. So the private label product, I just put together a little slide just to show you, and this is very conservative. So if you created a hero product, so let's say you're an ENT and you want to do something for the eye area, or let's talk about the eye area, okay. And a product we're able to create for $22 with packaging. A lot of the doctors say, oh my God, that's so much money. Okay, it's a lot of money, but if you can retail it for $125, we have other doctors retailing them for $275. Yes, that's a $22, $25 product that cost you, and look at that markup. So again, you don't have to be a CPA to figure that out. Now, the name brand products, you have to be careful because you cannot mark them up. So if you're spending $52 on a name brand product, you cannot sell it for more than $104 because it's all over the internet, or it's all over. If there's a salesman coming into your office, trust me, that salesman is going down the street or in the elevator to another floor to sell the same product. What I usually tell somebody when they're not sure if the product line is exclusive or how many people have it in their area, go to, let's say, Allergan.com and put in your zip code, or go to whatever, ZO Skincare, whatever skincare line you want, and put in your zip code and see how many competitors come up. So you're looking for loyalty, you're looking to retain patients. There's always competition, but if you bundle the products along with your services, it is a better way of retaining the patient, having a happy patient, and they have to come back to you on a regular basis to refill their products. So you want to transform your consult. So it actually is adding value to your consult. You're enhancing your consult by educating your patients, which would increase your sales, and it's going to book more treatments. So when we talk about the Visia Complexion by Canfield, the camera system, which is very well known. I don't even know. I'm doing this for 30 years. I almost know them as long. But it's very high quality images, very easy to capture, and very easy to do. You're motivating your patients by getting them excited so they can really see what they don't even know what's going on in their skin in a 3D visual tool. And there's comparisons in all different, it captures the front, the right, the left, of the face. And you really see so much of what's going on under your skin that I probably won't even want to do it again. When I'm with somebody at a trade show that's younger than I am, like, why don't you do it today? Because I know what mine looks like, and I'm scared what's going to happen in 20 years from now. And I'm not even a sun worshiper. I mean, I wake up and put sunblock on, which actually Doris Day had a good article today out on the internet on SPF and how important it really is to put SPF on every single day, no matter what the weather is. And I am a big believer in that too. So a great tool and easy to use is the imaging system. I do have some med spas and some practices that are able to even put this in the very front waiting area of their retail space. So people can actually see it and see other people getting it done. And the whole routine, if somebody's getting it done and other people want it and they see it, it kind of gets people excited. There's other offices that do it in the back, which is totally fine too. But I don't want you to forget about it. This is a tool that really does help you to sell and really helps you to bond with the patient, and they really see, wow, if this is what my skin's going to look like, or this is how bad my skin looks, I will consider buying any product and doing any service that you're recommending. And you can see by these photographs, and this is a pretty young skin, and you can actually see the differences and the sun damage and the clogged pores and where the problems are in the skin. And it's so easy to read this complexion tool and analyze the skin. So you want to combine and bundle products and procedures, and you actually want to have them come back in, let's say in 3 months' time. And you have to give them a reason to come back in to take an after picture, because it's just like a survey. Most people do not want to come back in. So you give them a reason to come back then. Tell them you will give them a free peel. You'll give them a free photograph. You'll email them the photographs before and after so they can see the difference. It's interesting with these complexion analysis, which I love, is you can even, analyze eyelashes. And, eyelashes are really important to a woman. I mean, how many mascaras do we all own? I know I have a handful. And we're always trying, how do I get my lashes to look bigger and better? And, with hair restoration these days, they're doing eyebrows, eyelashes, hairlines for women. It's amazing. So you need to learn how to combine while analyzing and using this tool to help you to do a better consultation. But remember, what's in it for them? What's in it for the patient to come back for this after picture? You want to retain them. You want them to shop at your practice. So when they come back in, maybe when they leave, you want to send them a thank you note, a thank you email with the photographs, and offer them some sort of gift when they come back in, maybe a new product that they can try. You need to create something above the competition. So it's not all about come in once, get your treatment, goodbye. We want to create a whole life cycle for the patient. And know what is your USP. You know what that stands for? Unique selling proposition. Why would I come to you and your med spa practice opposed to going somebody around the corner? You have to discuss things like this monthly with your staff in your meetings. And that's one of the reasons I promote my book, Beautifully Profitable, because it is a book that is used to help jumpstart your conversations with all of your staff. And when I say all of your staff, I don't just mean bring the gals from the front who are on the phone. Everybody should be involved. I don't even care if it's a 15-minute meeting. And everybody has to understand your vision, your mission, and what it is that you're proposing, and what are your goals? What are your goals in your practice? Because every patient is looking for added value when they're shopping. I know I am. We all are. It might be a female thing, I don't know, but women are making all the decisions. Women are buying for their family, for their husbands, for their kids. But you want people to come back in, you want to retain them, and you want to offer them some packages and programs, even if it's a 6-month or year blueprinted program that you offer them that's customized to evaluate their skin, review, and make new recommendations and take some new pictures and show them, the improvement in their skin. So you can show your patients here what they cannot see. It's really interesting. So you can see the true age of the skin, which is really scary. I mean, this woman doesn't have much to worry about, but she's 31 years old, but her skin, when analyzed, the true skin age is 39. Then we have comparisons of what the skin looks like and how much sun damage. The eyelash analysis is quite interesting and amazing to me too. And the fact that you can use it on an iPad and just view it in a 3D viewer is great. And they make it easy. They've been working with these systems so long, you don't have to be, a tech-driven person to understand them. They make them so easy. And the percentile score is interesting because it tells you how you stand against somebody else in the same age bracket. So, this woman that's 31 on the top left, her skin is like a 39-year-old. So that's where it's going to tell her scores. So it's a very interesting tool to use to help you in all of your consultations. So use the tools that you have and create custom skincare programs. Create unique programs for each skin type so people feel like you've customized it. So even if you get a vinyl bag and you put a cleanser, toner, moisturizer, mask in a bag, and you put Amy's name on it, or you put a card inside with how Amy's supposed to use it day and night, that will make her feel like you've created that for her, and it's not just something she bought off the shelf. And it's more custom. And everybody wants to feel like they want to feel special. They want to feel like it's custom for them. And then it's a question of how well do you upsell and cross-sell your services and products. So you can put together a program of skincare for somebody that's coming in to get a procedure done, and you can have them using the products first, cleaning up their skin, exfoliating, and then coming in for their procedure, then or for a post-procedure treatment, product, options, make them part of a package, add them in, don't charge and make people feel like every little thing is extra. Try to make things into packages and programs. It's another good reason why they can't go to a neighbor, competitor and hold apples to apples, because here you're putting together a custom program. You're going to analyze the skin, you're going to give them product, you're going to give them a treatment plan for the next 6 months to 12 months, and you're going to give them some added value in there. What's interesting is selling from one side of the business, from your med spa to your medical practice. It's interesting how many practices we've evaluated where they don't even know what happens to the paperwork or where the patients go or how they lose paperwork from one end to the other. So you have to really work very well together as a team to cross-sell and upsell from both ends of your business. Now, some doctors don't even think they have a med spa, and then we kind of chuckle and say, well, you're offering all these skincare products and you're offering all these skincare treatments. You really do have med spa services, even though you might not think you have a med spa. So, one of the questions I often have for you to think about is, how do you rate yourself and your team? Think about this, and you can always email me, we can always discuss it, but how do you rate yourself and your team, and what are the issues they're struggling with that they're not making this a prime profit center for you? It should be a prime profit center. And we talk about what's happening behind the scenes and back bar and the products that are going to be used. Again, if they're name brand products, you have to be cautious that if it's 1 teaspoon, that's what's being used, because it's expensive. And the protocols are being followed, especially in a medical facility. So somebody has to be overseeing and training over and over again, getting treatments done to make sure the treatments are being done correctly. Again, going back to private label product development, there's different levels of product development. You could buy product and slap your label on it. You could design some products and order 36 of each, and you can have something totally custom. And we have a customer that ordered packaging from Italy, and ordered thousands of packages. And you don't have to do that. There's lots of ways in between to have a unique product line. And then the same products that you're retailing, you want to use in your back bar. And then, of course, you want to add your professional back bar peels and scrubs and every oils that you need. If you do private label, you will also save a lot of money. It might be a quarter or an eighth of the price opposed to a name brand. But again, you want a combination of both. So when we're combining, packages, we're combining that home maintenance care products for the face and the body. So you want to sell packages, let's say of 4, and that will help to increase somebody coming in 4 or 5 times, buying the product in between. So, one of the companies I'm familiar with and I work a lot with is Thermi, and they have a smooth face and body radio frequency device. So we combine that with products with 4 or 5 treatments. So people are coming back in on a very consistent basis. So when we're holding events, we're seeing smaller events are making a lot of money. Our doctors are doing between $20,000 and I'll say $50,000 an event. That's 2 hours. And we're holding hundreds of events a month. So you might consider putting together a package and program and have an event to get your products out there and get your new procedures or your bundling packages out there. So it'll help to grow your retail sales and incentivize your staff.
So yeah,
that's another question.
Right fit.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah. Are we incentivizing the staff properly? That's a question, and most providers don't know how to incentivize the staff on a group bonus, individual bonus. But there should be some sort of incentive if you really want to see a difference in your numbers and grow your numbers. So you want to offer personalized programs, as we said before. And of course, the patient comes first, and there should be follow-up, and there should be a note sent to them and a phone call to see how they're doing and to reconfirm their next appointment. With chemical peels and skin resurfacing, it's great return on investment. You have happy patients because they see a difference. There's a lot of people who want to feel the tingling. They want to see the dry skin flaking off. And it's interesting because some of the peels, you don't have to feel that much tingle and it doesn't have to be that much sloughing off, and they work, but psychologically people feel, oh, if I'm spending a lot of money on a peel, I really want to feel this and see this, and I want to see the cells exfoliating from my skin. So most peels can be low cost with great return on investment, happy patients. And when we talk about time and room utilization, a peel takes very little time. We're talking about, booking a room, maybe 15, 20 minutes. And that's great. And there's all levels of peels. The physical skin resurfacing, well, microdermabrasion, amazing to me. The ASPS shows how the numbers that come out every year. It's still up on the top. The dermaplaning, dermabrasion, microneedling, those are all popular and now, I guess, being brought to the forefront again. Infusions allow for greater absorption. So, of course, once the skin is exfoliated, it's easy to infuse. You don't have to use super fancy microdermabrasion, super fancy equipment to exfoliate the skin. So I know that there's machines out there for $20,000, $30,000. You do not need to spend that. You could spend a whole lot less on a medical grade piece of equipment that is great. The PRP is interesting. They're doing more and more of it. And again, that comes back to what I said earlier, that I believe the whole stem cells. So the PRP is one level, and then the stem cells from the placenta and so forth are much stronger, much more potent, because obviously they're from a baby versus from a 30, 40, or 50-year-old. And there's lots of devices out there, lasers, radio frequency devices that tighten the skin and help with stretch marks. And all of these things you'd be able to see in photographs. So the before and after photographs are very important to have on your website. They're very important that your patients see them and sign off that you can use them, and as well as your skin imaging photographs. So you have an option to do multiple types of photographs. So now we talk about investment. Well, how much do I have to consider spending? And what product category should I, spend my money? Well, again, going back to what we talked about earlier, know who your demographics are. Are they teenagers with acne? Well, then, we're in a different place than if we're dealing with 50 and 60-year-olds with disposable income that will do anything to get rid of the lines and wrinkles or their double chins. So you should have a space that's designed and designated for retail. You want to consider it to be an interactive process where the patient can actually feel and touch. I believe that the skin should look beautiful. The skin naked should be beautiful. You shouldn't be promoting as much cosmetics and makeup, even though I wouldn't go outside without it. We all need it. You can have it. But what you really need to focus on is the raw, naked skin looking beautiful and glowing. That's what's going to make somebody very happy. And you need to create your own metrics and monitor your results of your sales. So let's look at your top 20 items. So you can make 20 to 50% of your sales. So if we're looking at a place that earns $20,000 a month in retail sales, then your investment and what should be in your inventory would be anywhere between $60,000 and $120,000. That's retail value of your inventory. So that's a cost to you of $30,000 to $60,000. Now, again, that's if we're just, in most cases, just doubling it with a name brand. It can cost you the same or less for private label, but your revenue would go up that much more. So your profit margin would be much higher. So we want to educate your staff. We want to educate your patients. And it all starts at the top. It really does. Whoever's leading your estheticians or your nurses, it has to come from them. It has to come from you. You have to discuss how you see this working. What are your goals? How many patients do you want to see a week? How much money do you want to make a day, a week, a month? These numbers really have to be discussed with your staff that interact with the patients. And you have to have realistic expectations. When we do an event, most of my practices are happy if they can sell 10 procedures. That's a good number because 10 times, let's say $3,000 to $5,000, they've made a good amount of money for a couple of hours. But you have to be realistic. And then you also, going back to the staff, you have to be able to work with the staff and compensate them in some way, take them for dinner, offer them manicure, pedicures if you hit your numbers. I have one doctor that joined a gym and has a staff going to the gym with them. So you want to educate your patients and keep your staff educated and knowing what you're thinking. So the skin imaging helps you to do a better consult. It helps you offer different types of treatments and be able to see a difference in a photograph, which is worth a lot to a patient to see the photograph. Have some samples available to show them, and always be honest and explain what you know is true, and be honest with the treatments that you want to offer them and the packages that you want to offer them, so they do see a difference in their skin. Merchandising and displaying is really important, and I have to say probably 80% of the practices are pretty weak in merchandising and displays. They should be changed with different themes during the holidays, different seasons. The lighting is very important. The shelving is important. Having the testers out. Shelf talkers are great because they tell you about the skin, or they tell you about the product, or they tell you the solution for an acne skin or for a hypo or hyperpigmentation skin. Video loops going to educate your patients is great, whether it's in your main waiting room or your aesthetic waiting room, whatever the setup is. And somebody has to daily maintain those shelves. I can't tell you, when I walk into an office, and I see the shelves are dirty, I see the packages are half full. I mean, I'm like, really? When was the last time somebody looked at this? And it probably was like 3 months ago. And I recently said it to a doctor the other day. I said, did you realize that, half the bottles have fallen on the shelves and they're lying sideways? And he looked at me like, wow, really? I thought they check it every day. Well, they don't, unless it's part of their daily routine to check it and to dust it and take care of it. They're not going to do it. So you have to maintain your merchandising displays, and they have to look good and keep them current and keep them moving. So it's always exciting when somebody comes in there. So when it comes to inventory, there's a lot of money in inventory. So you want to perform regular inventory because you don't want to be out of something. If somebody comes in, you don't want to say, oh, we'll send it to you in 3 weeks, because they want it then. So it's an impulse buy, or it's something that they need to replace. So there needs to be somebody or 2 people designated to actually do your inventory control, and 1 person who does the ordering, who's answering to your office manager if it's not your office manager. And you have to have people counting monthly and bi-monthly the products on the shelves so they match with your inventory control in your system. So stay on top of that, because aging inventory is worth nothing after a while, just sitting there. So after 3 or 4 months, start to offer incentives, gift with a purchase, buy one, get one free. Have an event where you offer some sale prices on skincare products. I have some practices that 2 or 3 times a year have skincare sales, and women will wait, save their money, and come in that week or call up an order for skincare sales. They wait, and they'll buy 2, 3, and 4 of an item. So that's a great way to get rid of your inventory, new and old, and recover your investment, and then reinvest in new products and stay on top of what is going on out there in the industry. So we help you to transform your aesthetic practice. My new book, I'm very proud of, Beautifully Profitable, is now in its 5th edition. We are offering a special for the ebook. If you go to beautifullyprofitable.com and put in the discount code VIP, it will be good for today for all of you that are listening on the webinar. And I know that we're going to have a question and answer period. I thank you for your participation. If you would like to get in touch with me, if you have any questions, I have a team nationally. We're actually all over Canada as well. And we're very happy to work with you and offer you a free consultation on the phone, do some practice analysis with you, look at your online presence, and be able to help you with better outcomes for your practice and help you meet your goals. So I look forward to hearing from you, and I will give the floor back to Inga for her questions and answers.
Hi, thank you so much, Cheryl. That was really great. We so appreciate you putting on the webinar. And we did want to first let everyone know that if there's any information on the slides that you missed, if there's any part of this that you'd like to review, this will be going up online at medestheticsmagazine.com/webinar, and it will be up there tomorrow and going forward. So if you want to share it with staff also. We have both Cheryl here and also Diana Ordonez, who's a product manager at Camfield, available to answer any questions. So we're going to get started with our Q&A. If you haven't sent anything, feel free to type it in the box. And if for any reason we can't get to your question, we do have them here if you type them in, and Cheryl will follow up with people after the event. And
Thank you, Inga.
One question we have for Cheryl is, what do you think is the best balance between branded products and private label products if you carry both of them?
Well, I think I kind of mentioned something on those lines before. I think a branded line is important, especially for a new practice starting out. But I think once there is some stability in the practice, the patients are now believing the doctor and the estheticians and the nurses are all experts. They could start to bring in some private label products and start with a few, maybe a handful of, maybe 5 hero products, private label, and then slowly bring more and more private label products into the mix. Know the demographics, know the key ingredients that your patients are needing, whether it's hydroquinones or kojic acids, or what their issues are, to know what to then look for when you're looking for a private label product to maybe replace that one branded product line. But it's always good to keep a brand name line in the office as well.
And another question for you is, what are some of the things I can do to get patients to reorder products from my practice and not the internet?
That's a problem. That's where Skin Store and Drug Store and all the other stores come in at a discounted rate. You can offer some sort of added value where if they're buying 2 of an item, they can save a percentage, or if they buy a kit, they could get 1 product free. If they buy a series or a program of procedures that we talked about before, or treatments, then they can get a discount on their products, because everybody's looking for that added value when they're shopping. So unfortunately, women will go online or talk to somebody at the golf community, and if they could save $1 or 10%, they'll go there. So you have to try to keep them happy at your practice. There's gift cards, there's VIP programs, loyalty programs that could be set up to keep your patients loyal, retain them, and have them feel that they don't have to look anywhere else.
Great. And I had a question, and Diana, this might be a better question for you, but Cheryl, if you have any thoughts. The question was, how long does the analysis imaging take, and who should perform it?
So the analysis itself takes about a minute to a minute and a half. Then you perform your consult. So however much time you would typically take to discuss the different skincare needs and their different options, that would just follow that minute or minute and a half that it takes us to just take the picture and perform the quantitative analysis. And just remind me again of the second part of that question.
Who should perform the analysis? Who should do that?
Cheryl, this is probably a better question for Cheryl. So, that's more operational than Vizia. Like, the software is easy enough to use by anyone, but someone with enough skincare knowledge to connect the products to the skincare results from the Vizia system would be the right person, but I'll defer the operational part of this to Cheryl.
No, I think you answered it properly. I'm looking for somebody that is knowledgeable, whether it's a medical assistant or an esthetician. Doesn't have to be the doctor or the nurse, because, with it could take more time. The actual photograph, I agree, just is a minute or two, but people usually have a lot of questions. A lot of people are very shocked and sit back when they start to see the damage in their skin and start to ask a lot of questions. So somebody who's good at sales, somebody who's good at helping them pull together what they're seeing and put a program together for their products and for their procedures would be the best one to probably analyze the data. Somebody taking the picture doesn't necessarily have to be anybody more than somebody from the front desk, but the person who's actually going to analyze it, talk to them, should be knowledgeable about products, ingredients, and procedures to be able to sell the packages and programs and cross-sell and upsell to the patient. Because remember, if the patient is there, they're serious, and they know you're the expert. So we have to have an expert talking to them.
Great. And this question is for Cheryl. How many different products or product lines should I be carrying in my retail area?
Well, it's a matter of space. If you're in Manhattan and you have 2 shelves, it's hard to put everything out. So it depends on display, depends if you have a room. There's a doctor, here in Florida that we're going to create like a Sephora type room for. So it could be unlimited, but really you want to limit it because the staff has to understand the product lines. The estheticians, anybody at the front that might be selling or putting them in bags, have to understand a little bit about the products. So too many start to get confusing. So I would say if you had, 1 to 2 brand product lines that don't overlap at all, that would be great. And if you wanted to do private label, to have one combined private label product line that looks like your brand, that's consistent, and one a branded line, which would be good. You can always have a compounding pharmacy combining pharmaceutical strength products for you as well. And just make sure the displays look good, they're clean, they're organized, and you have enough inventory, because that's where you're going to lose credibility. If every time somebody calls or comes in, and be careful, because even some of the vendors, I notice, have 3-week or 6-week wait times. So sometimes it's really hard to decide who you're going with. Then you pick them, and then you realize that you have to order 3 and 6 weeks in advance, which in some practices is not practical. So you have to keep all of these things in mind, but the most important is you want happy patients, you want great products, and today's aesthetic world is looking good, so they want them to look good and feel good and smell good, but also be effective on their skin.
Great. And that actually, our time is up for this webinar, so if there are any questions we didn't get to, we will follow up with you and make sure you get an answer. And again, if you wanted to review any of the slides or the information, do go to medestheticsmagazine.com/webinar. And we want to thank Cheryl very much for being here with us, and also Diana from Campfield. And thank you all so much for joining us, and have a good rest of your day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.